guys? It is Dave, it is Duncan, it is Kyle from Metal Epidemic, back with another album review. And for this review, we have been checking out the new album from Belgian metal band Cobra the Impaler. The band's new album Colossal Gods will be released on February 25th via Listenable Records. This is the debut album from Cobra the Impaler. A band made up of, now apologies if I ruin anyone's name here.
He's about to do it. I've been
just putting that out there. We have
wash all over me.
I think I don't know if it's Tace. It's TACE. I'm going to go Tace. Tace DC from Ex Aborted. We have Michel de Fudis from Almighty Mighty. Might be wrong. Might be right. Manuel Remery from Vendetta and Majestic Sun, and James Falk from Bear, and Ace Zek on drums, although the drums were recorded by Mr. Dirk Verburen for the album.
If you're gonna do drums in a studio, you call Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk plays for pretty much
every
everybody.
European band.
Yeah.
Like every European band.
Yeah.
Like all roads lead back to Dirk.
Yeah. The album was recorded and mixed by the new drummer, Ace Zek, though, so I'm assuming that's how the connection happened there.
Yeah. It's like we were saying, this sounds great, guys, but you know what? You need a drummer as well as a producer. I'm just saying, I can play the drums.
He can.
He can. Well, clearly, hopefully he can. It's not like no mean feat. Oh yeah, I'll just sit down and do live drumming for the Dirk tracks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The tracks, yeah. That should be straightforward. So that was sarcasm.
Yeah, got that.
Thanks.
So, Duncan and I, we did a reaction to a track called Scorched Earth about a month ago or so.
Yes.
And after hearing that, we were pretty keen to hear more from these guys. I think one thing that was like evident from that single we checked out was kind of how well oiled this band sounded already. For this being like a debut. They only formed in 2020, and they don't sound like they've been together for only a couple of years. And that might be the fact that, you know, they come from other well-known bands.
I think so. I think it's like these guys are, you know, no strangers to the record industry and music playing.
Yeah.
That I think, you know, you tend to you don't always find it as smooth as this, but you tend to find that bands that are made up of like an amalgam of different, you know, musical outputs tend to, you know, come in with a degree of confidence, but that usually can work against the project if you're not all on the same level. So this it sounds very, very gelled, very unified for a first album. It's very impressive. We also picked up, and I'm just going to get this out of the way, that, you know, there was a particular type of vibe on that track, maybe akin to a band like Mastodon, just, you know, as an example. Master who?
Never heard of them, Mastodon?
No.
Not bad, just check them out.
You've heard of Big Don Master, come on.
Yeah. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
That's you know, it was a clear influence.
Yes, 100%. But they are the big band in that genre.
Yeah.
So
and
you're almost inevitably going to get compared in one
Sure.
way, shape, or form back to them. Plus, they've been on the go for like fucking 30 years or something. So at this point,
true.
it's So but I will say, Dave, whilst there was a sound. It's not like they just were like, oh, we're a Mastodon band.
No, absolutely not. You can hear the influence on the album, but there's a lot more going on here than just, you know, what I was expecting to hear. And I think that may be also down to the fact that a lot of the members here have been involved in other more extreme bands prior to this. You know, it was quite nice to hear those little like flurries of something heavier being added in on this album, and that's there from the first track, from the title track Colossal Gods, which you have those big kind of sludgy grooves which kind of blend into like blast beats, you know, which is something I didn't really see coming, I thought, but then I was thinking about it, it's like, well, Dirk did the drums, so maybe it's
keep him not to do a blast beat. I think at this stage now people have to pay him to slow down. Just gonna no. Please. It's like, I'll just re-blast that.
Can't help himself. So, it was the same with the second track, Blood Eye. There's a real kind of like blackened streak to the guitars on the verses, but then when they swing into that really like melodic kind of hook laden chorus. It really kind of balances the track out and gives you something to hold on to. Then you've got like tracks like Spirit of Lissa, which has a heavy like kind of Gojira type vibe, or Spawn of the Forgotten, which kind of dramatically increases the tempo, adds in some thrashier rhythms. But I think like whatever style or tempo these tracks go, whatever route they take, they're always kind of bolstered with a hook. And the hooks are something this album has in spades. Like every track is going to leave you singing a melody or a chorus. It is very,
his voice
very,
is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. His tone is unbelievable. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, if you had a voice like this, you know, I mean, like, just soak the album in catchy melodic hooks. But it's not just him. There's like some really cool harmonies on this. So like, props to the other guys that are adding in those like vocal layers. We didn't really hear him do much in the terms of like kind of screaming on Scorched Earth.
No.
He does a lot of that kind of like blended like tonal melody. And when I was going through the album, I was thinking, I wonder if he's going to maybe like push it, you know, that little bit further. And then as you kind of get deeper into Colossal Gods, that more aggressive side starts to come out. You can hear it on Spawn of the Forgotten, and then also on the closing track Mountains, where he starts to kind of increase the kind of that kind of gravelly kind of tone in his voice. So he's like, he can do it all. He's a very, very versatile vocalist, very well rounded, and he absolutely nails it on Colossal Gods. Definitely one of the kind of main attractions to this for me. The other thing that really attracted me to this was the production. It's stellar.
Really
like, and I don't know if I've heard anything that's been done by Ace before, but he's like done a fantastic job with this. The album really packs a punch sonically. It's got a sheen to it, but it's also got enough kind of natural tones for it to feel quite organic as well. This is a really, really strong release from a band that like I knew nothing about, even though like they've only been to go for a couple of years. But I think they're absolutely ones to watch. If they sound like this on album number 1, then I can only imagine they are going to do like huge things going forward. Kyle, you obviously you weren't on the reaction video, so you hadn't heard any of this stuff going in. What did you think of the album itself?
It's pretty good.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a good start, yeah.
Duncan? No. I didn't really know what to expect. No, I wasn't on the reaction, so I was like, listen to the name, Cobra the Impaler could be fucking any genre. Honestly, that could come from Doom or anything.
Sounds heavier.
You know?
Yeah.
It does, yeah. But no, I was quite surprised. I tend to listen to albums before I read the press pack, so like,
okay,
because otherwise my opinion might be tainted in some way. Like it's made by members of Busted. Like, okay, this is going to suck or be amazing.
Second mention for Busted tonight.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Now the listeners can do their homework and try and work out the order we recorded these videos in.
They're never going to do that. But no, I thought this was quite a dynamic album, to be honest. It's got a good mix of like extreme stuff and the more Mastodon-y thing. But I mean, no, I quite enjoyed it. I do want to mention the production.
Okay.
Because generally it's pretty fucking good. And we say that Dirk Verburen did the drums. And I'm like, I have an inkling that Dirk Verburen recorded them electronically, sent that MIDI data to Ace, and he did it on the computer, because there are some touches in there where things are a little bit samply, and I was like, but that's just my producer ear picking that up. So I think, but I mean, you can't really fault it, because if Dirk Verburen's during drums, I'd let him do it, and I'd put a drum machine on it too.
He's a human metronome,
it's like,
so I mean,
it's like, yeah, I would do the same thing. So there's just couple of little things there, but the rest of the production is absolutely fucking stellar. Like the guitar tone was just massive, and everything sounded exactly where it should be, and it wasn't too polished. And I mean, it was polished enough for metal, if you know what I mean. I feel like metal shouldn't sound super clean and squeaky and all that, because it just loses its soul after that. There's some parts of it actually where the vocalists, they mix like a clean and like a guttural at the same time. I loved that. That made me go, oh yeah, that's awesome. You know, I sat up bolt upright in my chair going, fuck. But the clean singing on this album is fantastic as well. I really enjoyed it. It was all the way like, just wow, this is how you sing an album like this. I can't believe these guys actually came together from such extreme ends and just came up with this. It's like Aborted is not a band like this at all. And the guitar work is just excellent. Just I couldn't believe some of the shit that's coming out of this guitar. So I was like, no. How do you do that? Please teach me. I don't think I have the muscles for this one. So I can't really pick out a standout track because, to be honest, I just loved all of them.
There's so many.
So hard,
So many. Yeah. Duncan, what about you? What did you think?
This lived up to what I'd kind of hoped from Scorched Earth. We both reacted positively, I think it's safe to say, off the back of that. And I was curious about where it was going to go, because after that video, I got the other single from the pre-order, which is, I think it was Blood Eye, which is the second track, which was even more kind of Mastodon-y sounding. And like I say, not that I'm against that, and you know, if you're gonna go for it, if you're gonna swing for the fences and you're gonna take a stab at a kind of more commercial sludgy sound, then Mastodon's the band that you kind of really want to aspire to be. But actually the placement of the two songs with the rest of what's going on in the album is kind of what makes it special. You mentioned those kind of flurries of something a little bit more extreme, and it's not always evident in the main riff. It's just more how they hook things into the next riff, where you get like, it's almost as if they're just like they're giving you a wink, as if to say, you know, I can do death metal. Not doing it, but I can do death metal. So you know, I love that. I think it's surprising how commercial this is. Like genuinely, I mean, the production lends itself to like album sales, definitely. Vocally, it lends itself to album sales, but there's enough grit in there, which I think still kind of. This isn't a cash grab by any, like, this isn't like the Aborted guy saying now it's time to get paid. You know what I mean? There's some really, really, really good metal in here, like genuinely, like excellently written metal. But they're just benefited that I bet all bands wish they had, with a vocalist who is very, 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 very talented and can hit different ranges. And write catchy melody. Even though you can sing does not mean you can write a hook. And this guy has hooks for days. So all that sounded.
Kind of reminded me, they don't sound like the same band, but when I was listening, I was thinking there are similarities between them and Boss Keloid a little bit as well.
Weirdly, the two bands exist in a similar sphere without even sounding remotely alike. If you know what I mean? In that they're not one-dimensional, but their root sound is in the kind of more commercial sludgy sound. Once again, the kind of Mastodon sort of era sound, but the both bands have ventured off and explored different facets of that. I think this is kind of great. I'll be honest with you, listening to it all the way through, it is a very smooth listen. It's effortless to get into. The musicianship is of a top quality. Nothing sounds repetitive. It's just all, you've got some very talented musicians that have written, you know, very grounded, polished songs, and then you've got a great production which, you know, just elevates it again, and then you put that vocals over the top of it. It's a win-win-win. I think Cobra the Impaler has the potential to be one of these bands that we talk about, you know, the next 5 years as a band that's slowly starting to elevate up the scene. I thought, I was surprised because like I say, we heard that first track and then I heard the second track, and I had a really good feeling of what this was going to sound like. And to be honest, a whole album of that wasn't necessarily floating my boat, but they do enough in here to take away from that. And like you say, when you've got the caliber of drumming in the background of this one, it's always going to be interesting. Even when he's kind of maybe not flexing to his full extent, he's always doing something interesting, which I really, really enjoy. It's very, you could be, without comparing it to Mastodon again, it's one of the reasons I love Mastodon. Their drummer is constantly doing something, or constantly, making sure he's using something on the kit out with just keeping 4/4. And it's the same here. I think it's kind of difficult to dislike Cobra the Impaler, if you know what I mean. I think you could almost sit this down to any metal fan, regardless of their persuasion, and they will find something in here they'll enjoy. And that's a hard thing to do. So Colossal Gods...
It doesn't sound forced, that either.
At all. That's the thing. And it's genuinely, for the calibre of the bands they played with in the extremities that they're doing, none of this feels like anyone's slumming it.
Yeah.
And that to me is kind of awesome, because it would be very easy to be like a complete riff lord a la, once again, Aborted, who seem to just churn out the most insane riffs all the time, and then just kind of slum it in a sludge band, so to speak. And that's not the case here. It's all very well constructed, and it kind of almost shouldn't be. On some level, bringing all these people from all these different extremities down to do something like this kind of feels like something should be taking a predominance here. And the interesting thing about it is all those constitute parts that we've mentioned, none of those bands sound like Cobra the Impaler, so they've all come together and crafted a different sound while still being true to the genre they've come from. It's weird, but in the best possible way. I expect big things from this band. I genuinely think this is the sort of band that will be touring relentlessly when people can tour relentlessly.
Okay, so ratings for this new album from Cobra the Impaler. This is a really good album,
isn't it?
It is. It's really good. Like there is a constant. There's like a style or a sound that kind of runs through the album. It kind of holds it all together, but no two tracks sound the same. They've all got something slightly different about them. They've all got a really good hook to them. And I thought that the production of it just kind of elevated it again. I'm kind of I'm not between scores, actually. No, I'm going to 4.5. I was going to say I'm between two scores, but I'm not. It's a first album, but I think it's still up there. I have to give it credit where credit is due. It's a 4.5 for me. Kyle?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic album. Really enjoyed it. Like you say, it's just nothing sounds the same, but it does and it doesn't, and it makes you break down with the English language too. So great.
Duncan?
I'm coming in marginally lower than you. This is a 4 for me, with room to grow.
I honestly think this is one I'm going to go back to quite a lot this year.
I think it almost dares you to, just because of the hooks, just because it is so hooky, and it's really, the thing about it is it's really Moorish. I mean, it's an 8-track album, and it doesn't scrimp on those 8 tracks. It runs a decent length, but there's still, had they put an extra 1 or 2 songs in the back of that, I would not be complaining at all.
Okay, Cobra the Impaler, Colossal Gods, out February 25th on Listenable Records. I'll put some links below to their Facebook, to pre-orders and stuff, so you can check them out. Let us know what you think. Check out the album, let us know. Put your thoughts, your comments in below. We will get back to you. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. We'll be back with a new review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.